Hello there survivors, and welcome back to another build tutorial in ARK Survival Ascended. Today we're building this big ocean tech base that I've designed here on the center, but yeah, for any ocean map this would be a perfect base. As you can see, it's quite a big base. You've got those two big cubes that are kind of like A-frames, but you have the A-frame underwater as well. And then we've got the middle part connecting it all up and serving as the living quarters. Now, the base build already includes a water pan because of the underwater parts of the big cubes on the side. But if you would want, there is also a water pan that I added to the back of this design that you can use as well. And I will show you how to build that as well. It's fairly simple, but if you need more space, but for example, to be able to breed a lot of the ocean creatures and especially the bigger ones, then this is the base for you. As far as I know, you should be able to do this unofficial. However, there are some parts where I use a little bit of overlapping for details. You can't do that unofficial, so you'll leave those steps out and just keep the plain walls instead. Also in this build, I'm using some glass from the Architect Structures Remastered mod, which allows me to have nicer looking glass. Unofficial, you would just use greenhouse glass and then skin over it with a custom cosmetic called clean glass, and then you can still have a similar effect. Before we get into the tutorial, if you enjoy these types of videos and you want to see more, make sure you're subscribed. And if you want to support me even more, consider becoming a YouTube member. YouTube members also get early access to all the videos that I post. Now, before we get into the building, as you can see, it's quite a big base, and therefore I will only be building half of it. So we'll literally be splitting it right through the middle here and only building one half of the build. Then of course, for the whole build, you just have to mirror whatever we do on one side to the other side as well. And if you're looking for a structure list, I will post the list in the comments below, so you have a little guideline of how much you will need. So of course, as with any build, we're going to start out with placing down the foundation. Now, the middle part that you will need to build is actually going to be 16 wide and then 21 deep. But since I'm only building half of the build, I'm going to do a foundation of 8 right here. But in total, for the whole build, you would need to go a little bit further and basically double this. So 16 at the front, so make sure you have a place where you have the room to place all of that down, and then we'll go 21 deep. Okay, so this is half of the shape you should have for the middle part, and then you have some options. Of course, you can fill this entire thing in if you like the more clean look for it, but you can also save a little bit on foundations and just do every other 3, because you can have a gap of 3 before you go across with a line, and still everything above it will have the foundation support. So if you want to save on some materials, and the way I'm going to do this for the material list is with a little less foundations, because it's already quite an expensive build, and this way you can save a little bit of your structures. Okay, so we've got our starting foundation. Now we're going to make the foundations for the side bit that we're going to have. What we're going to do is right here at the end, we're going in by 4, and then here we're going to extend our foundation by 16. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So out by 16 in total, that's what we need. And then we also will go 16 deep. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And then we can go back in to connect it up to the main part of our foundation. Like so. And here again, we can do the same trick, leaving a gap of 3 and then basically going all the way across, so that we have our foundation support for everything that will build above this, which is basically all we need for this foundations. Of course, the choice is up to you, whether you don't mind having this kind of pattern at the bottom, or you might want to fill it in so it looks a little bit nicer, since it is an underwater base and you will actually see this every time you, of course, swim by it. So Personally, I would fill it in. Does make it a little bit more expensive, of course. So there we go. Now we have the middle support. We have the first side support. And then we're actually going to extend it a little bit more. We're going to go in by 6. So 6. And then we'll have this going out by 4. And also making it 4 wide. So just a little extension here at the end, and that should already all have foundation support. So you can leave it like this or fill it in for the better look. All depends on how many structures you actually want to spend on this. Okay, so I actually want to start here with the behemoth gate that obviously we're gonna place here in the middle. Since I'm only building half of it, it's gonna extend a little bit, but basically on the side you should still have 4 foundations left. And then, of course, on both sides, that will be the same. And that will be our behemoth gate to enter with your water creatures. Unfortunately, the Shasta does not fit through it. And, of course, we can add the actual gate in as well just to finish the look. And then we'll take our glass walls or our greenhouse walls if you do not have any mods or skins for it. And then we can have 3 walls going to the side. So not the 4th one, just 3. And we want to have this go all the way up, basically, so that we are above the water surface. So, yeah, depending on your build, this might vary on how high it's going to be. And then, of course, we're going to extend this all the way above our gate as well. But as I said, I'm building half of the structure. So for me, it's going to end at half of the gate. Okay, so we should have a wall that ends just above the water. Of course, if you want this higher, you can make it higher. And this is where we start our walkway. So what we do is on both sides of the wall, we add 1 ceiling so that we get a walkway that is too wide. Now we're going to go down here again and we're going to extend our glass wall to this side. But very important, we have 1 foundation on the outside still. And we want to at least do that until where this extra foundation juts out. And then we're going to go in by 5 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And this is the whole wall that we want to build up for now. That will help us get started with our actual structure. And then, of course, we want to fill in this entire wall so that we have a little bit of a guideline above the water of where our actual structure, where our actual base is going to be. And of course, this front bit, this water pen bit, you can extend as far as you want or as far as you have room. You can actually extend it also with the vacuum compartments because you can use those as foundations if you go over the edge, for example. But that very much, of course, depends on what you want, what the landscape is like. So I made it a little bit more compact for this tutorial. All right, so then here we actually want to make sure that we extend this, and then again at both sides of the wall we'll have 1 ceiling going. There we go. And for now we'll keep it at this for this part. Okay, we will take out a metal pillar and actually take it all the way through here on the edge of the glass wall that we just built, or the greenhouse glass wall, depending on what you're using. And that's just going to be a corner for once we start building into the rest of the build. But for now, we're going to focus on what we can actually see above the water. We'll take out our tech stairs and 3 from the end here. We'll add in 2 stairs to this side. And this is actually where we're going to be building the connection to our main base. What we want to do is take out our ceilings and connect a little walkway here. And of course, we can continue this pretty much all the way to the other side normally, because on both sides we'll have those stairs. But again, I'm building half of it, so we're going to halfway through this build. Okay, then it's actually time to get going on the middle part of the base, the connecting part. And what we want to do is have 2 of those ceilings, and then we can actually add in our stairs going up. And of course, we want to make this a little bit higher, so we'll add another layer of stairs so that we're higher than the walkway that we've had so far. Then what we want to do is make our little platform here that we're going to start building for. This is going to be 10 on the front. So for me, again, I'm building half. So I've got 5 here, but you would extend it with 5 more to the side. And then we're going to go 8 deep. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. that is the platform that we're going to make for the half of this build. Again, if you're building whole of it, do the same thing on the other side instantly. And then we can fill this in, because this is going to be the first floor of our middle part of the base. There we go. So we've got a little platform going. Then this is where we want to place down a gate, because that's going to be the entrance to our base. And then here in the middle, we want to place some glass. And on the other side of the gate, we want to take out our tech roof. And we actually want to make sure that we go up by 3 of them like so. So we get this shape. And then here on the side, we want to start working on the wall. We take out metal walls and we build a 3x3 right here to get this shape going. And then we just connect this up back to the roofs that we just placed. Of course, using some slope walls as well. This is going to be the bottom part here of the base. Then we actually want to place another gate here so that we got an entrance to this side part. This is going to be the hallway, of course, connecting to the first cube. And then here on the other side, we basically repeat this pattern. So we're going to go for a 3x3. We're going to extend it like this, because on this side, we're also going to have those ramps, tech ramps going up like so by 3 of them. And then we can fill in the rest of this wall as well. We'll take out our metal beam and actually go all the way across here. Now you can also do it above this just for the whole look, and continue it all the way until the other side. So yeah, basically this is the bottom half shape of the building. Okay, here on the back, we're actually going to extend it with some glass roofs. Of course, if you don't have a mod, it will just be greenhouse. But yeah, we'll have a layer of this glass, and then we can have another layer here of the tech roof going up like so. So we have a nice window here at the back. And then here at the front, of course, we need a wall to fill in this part here. What you want to do is, if you do not have any overlapping or you're on official settings, you just want to fill this in with the greenhouse glass walls and the slope walls, just like normal. But if you do have overlapping, what you can do is you can make this little shape with some sloped walls. I like to do it in wood, and I especially love the texture of the frontier skinned wood, but you can also just use the regular wooden structures for this if you prefer those, or you don't have the mod. And then we have this nice little wooden accent here. And then what we want to do is we can actually overlap the normal glass walls into this, so we have that glass wall going there and finishing this shape. Because here on the inside, what we're going to do is we're going to have the tech stairs going up, and that's the way that you get to the next layer. Then of course we can take our railings and then connect them up like so, so we're nicely protected from falling down, even though it's not much to fall. We can actually also add these railings here on these stairs, of course. There's a little bit more to worry about, and then I would also connect them up like so to the main walkway. I actually wouldn't do anything here on the front, because then you can still swim your water tames up if they're small enough. Okay, then it's time to continue the next layer of this build, of course. Well, first of all, we're going to fill in the ceilings here at the back. It's going to be 4 from the middle to the side, but the total, of course, is going to be 8 if you're building the whole building. And then here, we're actually going to go 17. So this is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10... 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So it's going to stick out a little bit. Then, of course, we want to go here and find our staircase and then remove these 2 so that your stairs, you know, have some room to breathe and actually feel like you're not bouncing your head against the ceiling. And then, of course, we can fill in this whole ceiling so that we actually have some room to work with for the next layer of our main middle part of our structure. So there we go. We just go all the way until we filled in this entire ceiling, and that will give us some more room to work with for the rest of this shape. Okay, then we're going to start here at the back because that's the easiest part. We're going to take out our tech roofs again. Make sure to flip it so the textures stay the same on the outside here. And then we're going to go up for these two by 3 in total. So just like that. And then of course here in the middle, we'll do the same thing. And then we can also fill in our windows in the middle, either using some modded variant, using some skins, or just using the greenhouse roofs. So that shape should be like this. So first off, this little ledge that we have, we're going to extend that by 2 ceilings. Then we take out our tech roof and extend it by 2 before bringing it in by 1. So this shape is a little bit more special. Okay, here at the front, we actually want to extend this by 1 more, like so. And then here, we just want to continue these until all the way through. But for me, of course, until half of the building. And then this is where we're going to make the actual roof. So we can fill in some more ceilings. And then just connect it all the way up until it meets the other side. Because this is going to be the actual roof. But of course, we're not wasting any space. This roof will be accessible so that you could still have stuff up here or park some flyers up here, etc, etc. Because yeah, we try to utilize all the space on this base. Okay, and before we go any further, we actually want to make the optional cellar door here at the top. So what we're going to do from the back, we're going to make a little gap. So right around here, we can pick them up, and then until you're basically 2 from the side. And then of course we need to go 5 deep because that's how big the biggest cellar door is. So we do it like this, and of course if you build the whole roof, you'll have a gap that is big enough. We actually need to make it a little bit smaller, so we're gonna have one edge here on the side with some quarter ceilings going across like this, and that should be enough. And this should actually be a perfect fit for the cellar door so that you can actually access or drop dinos inside if you want to maybe drop off some stuff. I would advise to do not auto open so that if you're just on the roof and you just want to be able to walk over it, it's just a normal roof still. And then of course for the look, I would definitely add in some beams around the cellar door just because that looks a little bit nicer, of course. So you have a little divide between your building and this actual cellar door. But it is a nice addition to be able to maybe get some of your collecting dinos inside, dropping off some stuff. Then here on the front, we also want to change it up a little bit. We actually want to extend this balcony with some of these triangle ceilings. And then of course, going all the way through until the end if you're building the whole thing. And then here, we actually want to add in some doors. So what we're going to do, we're going to leave a gap of 1 from that roof that we have on the side. And this is where we're going to have our double doors entering the building. And for the rest, we're going to just make a nice glass wall, of course, like so. And we don't actually want to make it all the way up because we're actually going to be closing it off like this, just to keep that shape and structure going and making it look a little bit stronger. Now, this next part is going to highly depend on whether you're on official or whether you can have some overlapping going on. If you're on official, you're just going to fill in this part with tech walls and tech slope walls. But if you do have overlapping, we can actually make this look a little bit nicer. First off, we're going to start right here by filling in this side with some slope tech walls and then a normal tech wall right there. Then here on the inside, we're going to have an edge of tech walls above this part of the structure. And then here, we're also going to add in this little tech wall shape. Right up until here. And then this is where we can start our normal tech walls again. So we have like this sharp edge right there. And then of course up here, just for the looks, you won't really see it much, but just nicer to know. Fill this whole wall in as well so you don't see the gap above the little window structure that we have. Okay, and then actually we want to add one more sloped wall right there so that we can fill this part in with some roofs just to make it look a little bit nicer. And then if you wish, you can actually make it come back as well, just to fill in this corner, basically making it look a little bit less awkward of a gap. Then this we can just go all the way across with normal tech walls until we reach the other side of this wall. And then again, so if you were on official, this would be a straight wall just up, and this would all be tech wall. But now if you do have overlapping enabled, we can actually make a nice window here, and we can actually start it like so, and you'll see it has a nice shape to it. So then what we want to do is we want to have 4 normal windows right here. And then again, this is where you would make a straight wall out of it for official. But for overlapping, we're going to place 1 more down because we can actually make a custom shape out of it again. And then below, we're going to also have 4 normal ones. And then again, we'll have a full one. This is where we can fill in these with tech walls and then have this sloped wall again. Again, this only works if you can overlap these structures. Otherwise, you'll just have to make a normal square window. But if you can do this, this looks a little bit more special. And then we can actually make this look a little bit more special even. Add a little bit more focus to this whole structure that we've just built. Which I think personally can be quite nice. So we want to have these roofs going on like so, kind of just to put a little bit of an accent on the fact that we have this special window here. And then we want to have 1 on each side. This is where we're going to leave it here for now. And then here we can actually connect it up to the top again. So we'll have 1 more roof up there just to make this shape a little bit more special. Okay, then we're almost done with this wall. What we actually want to do is we want to go 1, 2, 3, 4 ceilings. Then we want to break this up. We take out some stairs. And then we make the stairs go down by 2. We can fill in this wall behind it as well. Okay, and then right at the end of the stairs, this is actually where we want to add in another double door. That's going to be another entrance to this main build. And then we can fill in this for a little bit. Then we want to actually go 4 from the end here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And we want to have another roof line going down. And this can just go all the way until it meets up with the back over there. Now this is where you would make another normal square window like this if you're on the normal world and just fill in the tech walls. But here we're going to do it a little bit more special. We're going to make 4 of these happen. Then we're going to have a slope wall, of course, going up like this just to connect that whole shape. We're going to actually fill in a tech slope wall right there on that side, so that on this side you do not see the glass anymore. And then what we want to do is have another tech slope wall right there to create a nice custom shape for this window. And then the rest of it we can just fill in with normal tech walls. Let's actually fill in these doors as well. So the door there and the door over there. Then here on the inside, we can actually, of course, also add some stairs to this and make sure that they're nice and safe so you don't fall off. We'll also do that here on this side. Make sure that we have railings. And then we actually want to have railings all along the side of the top of this roof. Because, I mean, safety first. Of course, if you prefer to have the look without the railings, you can also do that just to, you know, make it a little bit more smooth. But then be careful you don't fall off if you're working here on your roof. So right there we go. We've got a little railing to make it a little bit more safe. Here on the balcony, we'll also add in the railings, of course, because we definitely want to have them as well. Now there's a few places where you can add in these little pillars to make it look like it's connected. You know, it's a little bit more well supported. We can actually also do that here on the balcony if you like. So you could have it connect like so. And where I also like to do it is here on the end of the stairs. So we have this go all the way up so it connects to there. You can do it on this side as well, or just have it only in the middle. I prefer to only do it in the middle for this one. Okay, so after this middle part of the build, it's time to start working on the side bits. And basically what you're going to do is whatever we build here on this side, you also will end up building on the other side as well. First off, we're going to make a hallway here by extending this by 3 and making it 4 wide. So this is going to be a little connector for this middle part to the first cube that we're going to have here on this side. Now what we want to do is we want to actually have another layer here, of course, and then we go out by 6 to this side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 on this side and also 6 on the other side. So it will make 16 in total. And that 16 is an important number because we're actually going to make this 16 across on the front as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. There we go. And then, of course, we go back in by 6 as well. So this should be 6 again. Then this is actually where we want to make sure that we go out by a 4 by 4 again. It's all very easy. It's all repeating the same thing. And then here, of course, we're going to go out by 6 once again. And then this should line up perfectly with the other line that we made on the other side. There we go. And this is basically what the big main cube is going to be like. And then, of course, we can start filling this in all the way through. Okay, then what we want to do is we want to go find the middle 4. So you should, again, basically go in by 6. Then we have the middle 4 that we can remove. And then you will have 6 left on the other side as well. And this is where we're going to add in some tech stairs, like so. And then start our first ceilings here as well. We'll do the same thing on the other side. This is going to be your connection to your breeding or hatching part for all your water dinos. It's basically one of the built-in water pens that you'll have inside of your base, which is quite nice. Cool feature for this base. I think that's the way I designed it to be, so that you would have easy access to water dinos very safely as well. And that means you can also build this without the water pen in the back and still have room to, you know, have some of your water tames there and breed them. Okay, so right now we've got this new square added to our build and some of the hallways to connect it all up, which is a good start for the next phase of this build. Okay, this is where we're going to start the A-frame, or I guess technically it's a cube because we're going to go both up and down into the water. So we start right here. This is going to be one of the supports. Then we'll have 4 of these in between. And then this will be another one of the supports. And then we'll also have one on the outside as a little overhang here on the front. And then, of course, we just want to start raising this up all the way until the middle. And the easiest way to tell if you're in the middle is you'll be above the middle of this little gap that we've created, or you go up by 8, of course, but sometimes it's easier just to see how many you've placed. And then we'll do the same thing here on this side. So again, we have that gap of 4, and then these two are going to be the supports, and then here we'll have a little overlap on the front as well. And of course, very easy to tell if you're doing it right. If they meet up in the middle, you did it good. And if they don't, you messed up somewhere. But yeah, it shouldn't be too hard to get this going. And that is the start of our A-frame shape, the big side portion of the build. This is definitely the biggest room you'll have to use to your needs. And then, of course, these supports, we want to connect them on both sides. Now, these are actual supports. So what we want to do is we want to go in with our sloped walls like so. And going to go all the way to the top, so that we can have a proper beam going up. Now, this is more for detail than actual necessity. But I think it really enhances the look of the build and makes it less flat on the inside as well. Because you'll see those beams there. So yeah, of course, we want to do that all the way. And then we'll do this on the other side as well. So that we have some proper beams to hold up our big roof that we'll have. There we go, all the way down here. And that's basically where we fill it in with some of these roofs to really create those beams. There we go, that's the first beam. Here actually on the outside, we still need to raise this all the way up on this side as well. And then of course we can connect them too. And then basically we do the same over here. We're going to create another support. Now, one important thing to note is that if you want to build this on official, you can't actually do the beam right here in the same way, because this is also where we're going to have our glass walls again. Now, if you do have overlapping, totally fine. This is going to work like a charm. Otherwise, you're going to, of course, have to use the greenhouse glass walls here on this front. You could still make the beam, because from the inside it would still look like a beam, but from the outside you might be able to see that it's like a hollow beam in that case. So you could leave this one out if you're on official settings, but otherwise I would strongly advise in adding them, because again, I think it adds a nice little bit of structure and detail to the build instead of just having like a very big A-frame that looks quite flat and boring on the inside. So there we go. We just do the same thing as we did before, all the way with these sloped walls, and then as well on the other side before we fill it in with roofs on the bottom. So there we go. You should have your support, and then we can fill it in with the roofs just to finish this whole support and making it look like it's actually holding up this roof above it, because it is quite a big roof. And then, as I said before, the rest of this wall, we just want to fill that in with the glass. Again, if you have some mods, you can use some fancier looking glass. Otherwise, you can just go for the greenhouse glass instead. Whatever is available to you. But there is also some custom cosmetics to even make greenhouse glass look a little bit nicer and more like actual glass. And if you're building this out of different materials, maybe using more stone and wood, then the frontier skin from the glass is also pretty nice. There we go. So this is going to be the front of our A-frame. A nice big glass wall so you can enjoy your views. And then here we're going to fill this in with glass as well. So we get plenty of light here on the inside. I just like that look. It means that during the day at least, you know, it's very easy to see. You don't need a lot of lights inside of your base, which is always nice. And even during the night, still means that you have some natural moonlight coming in and it's not too crazy dark on the inside. There we go. So here as well, we fill it all in with glass. And again, if you do not have any mods, you can use the normal greenhouse glass roofs instead, because they also look pretty good. There we go. So that is the front part of this. Now, basically what you do is on the other side here of the hallway, we're basically gonna do the same thing. So again, we have this 4, and then we have the 2 supports, and here on the outside, of course, we have the little overhang. So yeah, we can basically repeat the whole process that we just did. I don't think I will show it all here on the tutorial because it's just rinse and repeat. So put this on pause, build this all up again the same way as we did over there for the first side, and then we'll continue again. Okay, so then if you've done all that, you should have 2 of these A-frames that are exactly the same, just with a big split here in the middle. Okay, and this is again where we have a slight difference between what you can do on official and what I would recommend if you do have overlapping available. On official, you would just make this whole hallway wall out of glass, or greenhouse walls actually, and then use the sloped variant as well. But if you are able to do overlapping, again, we're going to make a little slope like this. It's going to be 4 walls high in total. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, my personal preference would be to change these to the frontier skins, or actually use the normal wood structures, because I think it's a nice little accent with all the tech and metal around. And it's just a little detail here. And then here on the corner, we actually want to add in a double door so that we could access this. We're going to connect that up with the walkway later. And we're going to do the same thing here on the other side of the hallway as well. So again, we're going to create this little line. And on official settings, you would just use greenhouse glass for all of it. And then we fill in this skin, or we just use the normal wooden structures, because I just prefer that look. And then we can fill in this wall and make it 4 walls high, like this. And just fill it all the way in like so. And of course, we do the same thing here on the other side as well, making it that we have our first hallway connecting up to the A-frame that we've just built. There we go. So that is what you should end up with. And then you can probably guess that we want to fill this in. So we'll take out our ceilings. We'll go up until where it would meet with the roof, and then we'll fill it in. So it's going to be 4 wide, and we're just going to fill it all the way in until the wall of the building that we started with, which should line up with the door that we have over here. So there we go. This is what you should have. And of course, this doesn't look great. So we want to have a little bit more detail. What we want to do is we want to take out our quarter walls, and we start a little edge here going up like so. And this is going to be a little border. We want to make it up until here. Of course, if you do have overlapping, you can have it go into the actual structure, but if you do not, you can just have it go until here. Then we want to make a little ledge like this with our quarter ceilings and connect it all the way up to the other side as well. And we want to do that on this level here too. So we're basically creating a custom railing border that sticks out a little bit, so it adds a nice little detail. Again, if you have overlapping, you can go all the way. If not, you just keep it like this. You have a little border that will be a nice accent. Personally, I like to paint these borders with a darker color, so I would make them black, just because then it stands out a little bit more between all the things. But if you do have overlapping, yeah, I would recommend just making it stick all the way through until where it meets the roof. And then of course we're gonna go here to the other side, and we can basically do the same thing here again. So we're gonna start with adding these quarter walls, and then just create the same little border as we did on the other side. Then what we want to do is add in some more roofs to high right here, and then we can fill in the rest of it like normal. Again here, yeah, it's going to be the same as we did before. If you do not have overlapping, you just use the greenhouse glass or your custom glass, whatever you have. But if you do have overlapping, you can make another line like this as a nice little detail, and we can do that on both sides, of course. Again, personally, I would make them out of wood or use the frontier skins to make them look like wood, because it's just a nice accent, and then it returns everywhere, and you can see these actually line up pretty nicely. And then this is where we have another little entrance, so we want to make it too high with those glass walls like so. And then here at the front, of course, is where we would have our double doors, and then some glass above it. Then we fill in the top here with just some ceilings. Then we take out our quarter ceilings and make a little edge around it, just meeting up with the roof and sticking out one outside where the walls are, so that we have a little overhang on the outside. And there we go. That is our little entrance to that part of the build. And that lines up with the middle part of the build as well. Now what you can do is take out your ceilings and make sure that this little hallway or little path goes all the way to the other side here. And again, then here we can make it 4 wide. And speaking of what we're going to build right here, it's very similar to the hallways. Again, if you do not have overlapping, just only use the glass walls and the slope walls. If you do have it, we'll start out with our little detail again with these slope walls meeting up with where those ceilings now are. And then we do the same here on the other side, of course. I've said this a couple of times, but I would prefer using wood, or even better, these frontier skins from the Bob Tall Tales DLC, because that just is a nice looking accent to bring into your build. And then here, actually, we want to go out by 2, so not all the way to the end of this platform. And then we'll make this wall 4 high in total, of course, meeting up all the way with this structure. Then right here, we also want to make it 4 high, but then in the middle, leave this gap, because we're going to have a gateway there. And then here, we can just fill in the whole wall again, basically having the same as the hallway. But now, of course, it's actually an entrance, because you could fly in here, or if you have some ladders, get out of the water on the side of the build as well. Then, of course, we can fill this all in with ceilings all the way through. Like so. And then we can basically repeat what we did on the other side. We're going to go up by 2 here, and then we can fill this all in with the roofs. We can do the same little detail here again with the sloped walls. I'm not going to repeat what I've said every time. Again, I'm going to apply the skins to it. And then we're going to make these walls 2 high for the same kind of entrance that we have on the other side. Add in some nice double doors. And then finish the rest of the wall. And we can fill in the top with ceilings. And again, create that little edge with the quarter ceilings as well. And then we have a nice little entrance slash exit here. There we go. Then here on the end, we're going to do the same design as we did for the hallway, which is creating these quarter walls all the way along the edge. And then before we continue that, we actually want to make sure that we stick out these ceilings by 2 in total. So we have a little overhang here on the top. And then we can continue our little wall right here, and then continue it here as well. Again, just creating that little border to act as a proper detail for this last hallway part of the build. So first we're going to go with the quarter walls all the way until the end. Again, if you have overlapping, you can overlap them into the building, otherwise you just cut it off right there. And then we're going to have the ceilings like this, and of course fill it in on the other side with the walls like this, and then do this all the way around this build. There we go, and then you should end up with a nice little edge like this, which again I would paint in a black color so it's a little bit darker and serves as an accent. Okay, then over here we first of all we want to add in our tech gate like so, and then fill in the actual gate. Then what we want to do, we actually want to have the ceilings all along this little edge, just so that it sticks out a little bit more, connecting up with the normal roof. And then here on the end, we want to use the triangle ceilings to create a little bit of a nicer shape to the end of this platform. And then what I like to do is have some ladders on the end so that you can actually enter and access the base here quite easily without, you know, not being able to jump back in. And then another last little detail that I like to do is flip or slope walls like so and create another little support beam going down. And yeah, that just looks really nice in my opinion and ties it all together quite nicely. So we'll do the same here on the other side, creating this nice little support beam. And that is the end here on this side. Of course, we also want to fill in our doors right here and over here as well. And then, of course, we had some here in the hallway that we definitely want to add. And what I actually like to do above the doors, but this is optional, is add in a little beam across the top, because that transitions a little bit better into the normal structures. You can also do that for the other doors that we've used so far, just because I think, yeah, it looks a little bit nicer. You don't really need it there because you already have the tech wall, but if you're transitioning it to glass, I think these beams make it look just a little bit nicer. All right, then here on this side, we actually want to add in a tech stair like this, which then again will connect up to the walkway that we have going on over here. We will be working on the walkway a little bit later to finish it all up. But yeah, have a stair going down, because then you've got another access point to your base. We'll have the ceilings here for now. We'll connect them later. And of course, if you want to keep it safe, add some railings to your stairs as well, so you don't just fall off instantly. Now we got a big A-frame here, but we actually also need to make the same A-frame, but then just going down. So what we want to do is we want to take our tech roofs and we want to make sure that we flip them the right way. Again, it's going to be the same pattern. So these two are going to stick out. That's going to be support. Then we're going to have 4 like this, and then we're going to have another support like there. Here on this side, it's basically the same. So we have 2 here at the end, which one of them is the support, the other one is the overhang. Then we have 4 in the middle, and then we have another support beam. Okay, just as we did the top, I'm gonna show you what to do with one of the sides, and then we're gonna repeat it all. So first of all, we want to make sure that we meet up with the same A-frame shape. So here at the front, we have these two. We of course want to make sure that this is going to be 8 long in total, so that we can meet the middle point. And if we do that correctly, we can meet it up by going 8 from the other side here as well. And then basically we have the same A-frame shape that we have up top, but then this of course is mostly underwater. And again, if you do it right, it will meet up right like this. And then of course we have the 4 gap again before we have the other support on both sides. So both sides, it's the same thing that we want to create. Again, want to create that little bucket of an A-frame. Now it's a little bit confusing, but it is the same structure as before, just upside down this time, to create a nice little water pen for some of your tames or your breeding needs with water dinos. And there we go, we can meet it up, and then we can fill in these 4 here as well. So we should have this shape. And then again, what we're going to do to start is actually make these support beams that we have at the top as well. We also want to have them here at the bottom. Again, just to add in a little bit of that structure. But as we did before, at least this one on the front, if you have overlapping, you can do it like this. Otherwise, just fill this in with your glass or greenhouse, and then with the slopes at the end, so that it looks a little bit nicer. There we go. We just fill this all the way in so we can make our proper support, which is basically the same thing as we did above, but now upside down. So yeah, we're going to do the other side of the support as well. Just continuing the shape with these sloped walls all the way up to the bottom. Of course, this is going to be slightly more dangerous when you do it in survival. So keep some nice tames around. Or place a turret down before you start doing it. And then once we've done all those sloped walls, we can fill it in with the roofs to get the actual beam look here. And make sure that it goes all the way until the ceiling platform. And then we can do the same thing over here as well, to create the full support. And then of course here for this one, we're going to do the exact same process. So just going along with the sloped walls until we create the full support. And then of course we fill it in with the roofs as well to finish off this full support beam that we've done a couple of times at this point. There we go. So we got the full support done. Then we actually want to make this look a little bit nicer, of course. Okay, what we want to do is, first of all, we want to fill in 2 more layers here at the bottom, like so. And then fill in the layer to the sides as well. So leaving the 2 in the middle open. And make sure that you check that everything is filled in all the way. And then in the middle, we can actually use our glass again. Because even though it's underwater, it can still be nice to enjoy the views from the outside as well. So yeah, we do the same thing here on the other side. So again, we fill in the bottom 2 completely, like so. Then we go on with the sides all the way up. The same thing here on this side, of course. Filling that in like so. And then the middle, we can fill in with the glass, just to make this look a little bit nicer. And then here on the front, I've said it before, we just want to fill it in with the glass, just like we did above. Basically, to finish off this wall, we'll fill it all in with glass, so you can still enjoy your views. If you're breeding or if you're parking your water tames on the inside, you still can enjoy whatever is around you. And then of course, the same thing here on this side, just filling it all in. There we go. Last little bit, and then we got the full glass wall here done on this side. Then what we want to do here on the inside is actually add a little railing here on the end. Also want to do that here for these. And we want to have some thin pillars at the end there as well. Just so that is already a little bit nicer. Now, here on the other side, of course, we have the same A-frame that we need to build. So everything that we've just done on this side, we now need to replicate here on the other side as well. Okay, after all that, you should have the same 2 A-frames on both sides of the build, and then it's time to actually properly turn them into a closed off breeding pen, water pen for your ocean tames. We want to start here at the outside, so where we have the ladders, we have the end of the base, so not where we connect to the middle part, because this is the end of the base, which means that this can be completely closed off. So this middle part, we just want to make sure that it's completely closed with roofs so that nothing can get in, and that's basically the end of the line for your underwater pen. So you want to make it go all the way down there, and that is basically it for this side. Okay, so that is basically what we want to have down there. And then on this side, we don't really want to add anything because this is our connection to the middle. We're going to connect with all these walkways, etc. But of course, we do want to connect to this wall that we started with, because we want to make sure that whatever we have going on down here is safe to use. And the way that we're going to start that off is actually by starting to make a wall right here as well. So we want to make sure that we have these ones. We want to go and connect them to the baseline there. But we want to have a gap of 2 here in the middle that we'll leave open for now. And then we want to make sure that we have 2 on each side. So in total, this wall, including the gap, is 6. And that should line up with the original wall. So if we go all the way across now, this should now line up with the pillar that we had from the previous wall. Now here in the corner, we can actually add pillars as well to have that corner look nice as we can. And then here what we want to do is basically want to build the wall up except for the little gap. Now, it's a little bit easier to do this design with overlapping again, but you could do it in official. But basically we're going to have a line with the sloped walls. So on official, you might want to keep an extra gap safe so you can still have the line and then just have little gaps in between where nothing really will fit in. Or, you know, you could also just have the greenhouse glass slope wall so you can finish the wall properly. But yeah, for overlapping, you can just leave one little gap corner for all of these walls, and then we'll fill them in all the way until we reach the walkway slash surface over here. So this should line up with the surface. So here what we want to do is basically we want to make sure that we have this line going on. You can actually continue this line outside of the little pen that we created just to make it look nicer. Again, personal preference, whether you fill this all in. I would, but it would take a lot more materials. But in my opinion, it does look a little bit nicer if you do that. But then we just want to connect this line all the way along the structure that we have, and then just end it up here so it lines up with the platform. And again, you probably want to fill it all in, but at least here under the walls, I would at least have a little line of foundations or ceilings so that it's really all closed off. Although nothing really would be able to fit underneath it. And then here on the other side, we basically want to do the same thing. Now, depending on your landscape, it might turn into a little different look. As you can see here, my landscape is already a little bit higher here. So I'm already overlapping a little bit into the ground. That's just the nature of the ocean or any build. Yeah, it doesn't always quite line up, of course, with the way you want to build this. So just build to your best ability. It doesn't really matter too much. Just make sure that it's all closed off. As soon as you reach the same line as the other wall or the middle of the walkway that we have right here, of course, we want to have your pillar. And then this is basically the same as we did on the other side. Fill all in the glass. Fill in the entire glass wall. And then, of course, we'll also again have this little slope design going on just to make it look a little bit nicer. And we just want to have that again go all the way until it reaches the height of the walkway. Now, to make this look all a little bit nicer and more supported, I actually want to add in a few supports to this whole structure. And that is what is going to go into this gap right here. What we want to do is have two walls like this on either side. And then we can connect these sloped walls to it. Again, if you filled in the whole floor, this would connect. Otherwise, you can also make the support go a little bit deeper. But yeah, you want to have these roofs up there like this, because we're basically going to create a big support beam for this whole build. To get it started, it's easier to just go two walls at a time to kind of create this shape going all the way up. And then it should line up here with the bottom of this end of our hallway. Now we want to do the exact same thing on the other side, of course, to fill in this whole shape. And it makes it easier just to do these walls first before we fill in the rest of the shape. Now we can add our sloped walls to the bottom until we reach all the way down. And then here at the top, of course, we also want to have our sloped walls. And of course, once you've done one side, we want to do the same thing here on the other side. There we go. Once we've done that, it's when we want to start filling in the roofs. It's easiest to first start here with the top layer of this beam. And again, this is just so that it looks extra supported. You don't really need it, but I just think it looks a little bit nicer instead of having this big floating base with a lot of things sticking out from it. And then once you've done that, of course, we also want to fill in this side with these roofs as well to finish this whole support beam. There we go, all the way until we are down there. And now this already looks like it's being supported, and very importantly, it's actually supporting this end bit so that it isn't just floating at the end of your base. Now you could leave it at that, but I actually also really like to add a little bit more, starting right here and then going down from there, just too wide again, until you reach all the way down to the foundation layer. And of course that can depend on it, so sometimes you need to go a little bit deeper. And then you want to fill in this whole thing again, so you can start with adding these sloped walls to the side, and then we can start filling in the rest of this shape, and of course then do the other ones. So these are a little bit thinner than the first ones we created, but they do support this little A-frame. And of course you want to make sure that you do the other side and then also fill in the bottom with more of these roofs so that we've got the whole shape supported. And we just go around filling this all in. And filling it in with the last little bit. And then you have these little legs. If you do add those, I would do them on both sides. So here as well, we would go ahead and add the support beam, because I just think it looks a little bit more like this whole big structure that we've got above is actually being properly supported this way. There we go. Then you should end up with something like this. So two little legs for the A-frame, making it look a little bit more supported. And then the big beam to hold up the end of this base as well. Of course, if you do add the little legs, make sure to add them here at the back as well. So there we have it. This is what it would look like if you have the supports everywhere. So the whole A-frame is being held up, and then of course the end bit here as well. Okay, now we've got all the supports in place. We want to work a little bit more on the walkway here. First of all, what we want to do is actually extend it here at the front. We can add a little bit of these triangles just to make this shape a little bit more interesting again. I just think this looks a little bit nicer than having it very square at the front. And of course, as I've said, you can extend the front as far as you want if you need more space there. Then here, of course, we're going to connect these walkways with this that we have on the other side, so you have access to everything there. And then of course we want to make it go into the A-frame here. We want to actually make it go all the way until the end here, so that way you can go all the way to the other side. And then we want to extend these corners as well, so that you have those access points. Then we want to have some stairs going into the water there. And we also want to have those stairs over here. So here we actually want to extend this platform as well, just so that you can go into the water on more places. And then here we actually want to have a little walkway that goes across. It's not much, but just makes it a little bit easier for you to get out of the water. So we do that on both sides. And then of course it's going to be safety first, so we're going to add in some railings to the stairs, not to the underwater platform, because we want to be able to swim over that. And then here, of course, we want to fill that in as well. And then here at this side, we can actually fill in the whole back with this little platform, just to make it a little bit easier over there. Then here you want to find the middle and then actually connect your walkway up to the end here, so that you can go into your base. And that we want to do on both sides, because yeah, that just makes it all a little bit easier. Then it's totally up to you whether you want to leave the walkways like this in here, so that you can easily jump on and off. You could add some ladders as well to actually have even more places where you can get on and off the walkways, or you can add in railings everywhere to make it safer. What I would do at least is add some of these thin pillars here, just so that it actually looks like it's properly supported or hanging, I guess. And we do that everywhere at those ends just to make it look a little bit nicer. But then again, it's up to you. In my original design, I have it with the railings, but I find that it might be more useful to have it without, because then if you park a dino here, you have a chance of instantly getting on top of these walkways. Now, speaking of walkways, we have a walkway up here, and there's two things you can do. You can make a second floor here, so just fill it all the way in if you need the space. But if you don't need the space, here I would definitely at least add in a railing, because, yeah, safety first, otherwise falling down is going to be a real hazard here, of course. And then it can just be a walkway to the end, because you still have some room on top of the roof for parking flyers, or just to have some farms up there or something. Okay, and then in this walkway here, we actually want to extend a little bit further. And then right here is lining up with the A-frame. We want to extend it by 3 more so that we have a little bit more room. This is actually where I would cross it back to the other side, so that we basically loop it all the way around. Because, of course, yeah, you want to make sure that you can walk around in multiple places. And if you do want to add the bigger water pen behind it that I have in my original, this is where it's going to connect to. Okay, then the next step is actually going underneath the walkway again. And, of course, adding in the wall. Now, at least here at the end, we want to go all the way down and then connect it back up to all already existing walls, and this should line up with the walls that we have so far. Again, depending on your landscape, you might need to go deeper or whatever, you know, because it's probably not going to be perfectly flat everywhere. And then we just want to make sure that we fill in these walls all the way up until the walkways that we have. And the wall again should be in the middle of the walkway everywhere, just so that, you know, it kind of leans on there. And then we can fill this all the way in. Now, depending on your needs, if you do not need any extra water pen, because to be honest, there's already a lot of space, because you've got this whole middle bit, you've got this side bit, and remember that if you build it yourself, you'll have two of these, so you'll have a lot of water room already. But if you want a bigger water pen because you want to breed the bigger dinos like Mosas, like the Shasta, then of course you want to add that. If you do not, you can just make this wall go underneath this walkway and then loop it back around, basically closing it off. But if you do want to add the whole extra water pen behind, this is where it will connect to. Either way, we'll have a pillar in the corner. If this is all you're going to build, I would do the same metal pillar as we have done so far. If you're going to make the whole loop, I use the thinner pillars for that, just because I like the look of them a little bit more. And then to finish off this main part of the build, it's going to be some railings only on the outside of these walkways. Again, on the inside, I want to be able to jump on and off. So here on the outside, I actually want to add in these railings so I don't fall off on the wrong side, end up in the ocean and get killed or something. And I want to do that up till about there, because then it connects with the inside. And then here I want to do it pretty much until the end here. Again, it depends on what you're going to do next. If you're going to make the water pen, it's going to be a whole different thing. But yeah, basically we just go to the end. And if, of course, you don't add anything else, then I probably would add in the triangles and then just have the railing loop around back to your base. And then here underneath, I would actually connect these up with those little pillars, thin pillars as well, just because it looks quite nice and hanging down. Feels like it's actually all connected a little bit better. And then we're pretty far done, but it can't hurt to add a couple of ladders in some places, just so that you have some extra ways to get in and out of the water if you do end up falling in, you know. It's always very annoying when you are in the water and you can't really get out. So yeah, definitely would recommend a few ladders here and there. Okay, and then we can add one little detail here on the side. What I always like to do is just adding in a line like this, just going down as a diagonal, just because we don't really have anything going on here. It's not really needed, of course, because you can't really see it. But yeah, it does give a nice little touch. Here we actually go through the glass barrier, but it's fine. It just adds a little bit more of a detail, and then you could even split it off somewhere. Now, of course, if you can overlap, you can just do this, but otherwise you can turn this overlapping part into a normal full wall, and you can have this going back up until it meets the walkway. It's just a way to add a little bit of an extra detail there. You can take it away, you cannot use it, whatever you prefer. So that is it for the main building. That should be everything you need to build the main base. And now, of course, we'll work a little bit on the pen that will be behind it. Okay, if you do want to add in the water pen behind it, which is quite big, will give you plenty of space to do any breeding or keep your water tames outside if you want to. You will need to remove the railings for the last two of these, because this is where it will start. I will show you a little part of the whole shape we're gonna make, and then you can just keep repeating that until you're back around. This is going to be the first corner, and then we're gonna make a diagonal part, and then we're gonna go back into a straight one, and that's gonna rinse and repeat until you're all the way around again, and it should all link up. But to get started, we're actually gonna go down at the end of the wall that we've created so far, and we're gonna go out by one wall to the side like this. This, if you go all the way up, should line up with the middle of the walkway at the end of the straight part. So this is where it starts. And then this basically means that we start our diagonal part here. So it's gonna be still the too wide walkway that we're used to, but now it's going to go out diagonal. So we're going to start placing this part. This is all we can place right now. We want to go underneath here and start placing these walls and connect them all the way until we reach the bottom of the ocean. Again, that will very much depend on your landscaping, of course. But yeah, this is what we want to add. And then we want to extend this wall as far as we can. Probably you can only go out by 3 before hitting the limit. This is where you place down a pillar. You can go all the way up with the pillars if you prefer. You don't need to. We just need the one for the foundation support. Then we're going to go out by 4 is what it should allow you to. And then you place down another pillar. Then we go out by another 4. You place another pillar. And then we go out by another 4. And then that is where we place another pillar. But that's also as far as we need to go. This whole wall should be 15 walls. So we got 3 already. And then this, of course, is another 12. So 15 in total for the diagonal parts. And that is what we're going to build up all the way until the level that we would have our walkway. So yeah, we're just going to fill in these walls. I'm building them still out of glass or greenhouse walls if you want to do that. But of course, if you do not want to be able to look outside, you can just use metal or any different material that you prefer. I just like the look of having like a big glass aquarium, so I can still enjoy the views from the outside world. But yeah, we just want to fill in these walls all the way until the top. There we go, and that should be it. So now we can see we got a whole long nice wall. We're going to take out our triangles, and then we're going to start placing them all down. We should have all the supports because of those pillars that we have at the bottom, and we can go and connect all of this path up until the end of this walkway. There we go. And then of course we want to end it like this, aiming that direction. And this is where we would start going back to our normal ceilings. Now, as I said, this diagonal part is 15 walls down here. But if you want to check if you did it right, it's 16 of those triangles on the outside. So just counting the ones that are facing like this on the outside. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So yeah, for some reason, it's 15 walls down here. So 15 walls down here, but it's 16 of these triangles facing outward like this. Then we get to the ceiling part. Again, we're going to go as far as we can. It will only be 3. Then we need to go under the water again. So we're going to look for the middle here again. We're going to place down our walls. And then we're going to take these 3 walls all the way down to the bottom of the ocean. Again, that's going to very much depend on what your depth of the ocean looks like. But yeah, that's going to be it. And then we're going to repeat the same process. We're going to place down a little pillar down there. And then we can extend again. So we have 3 right now. We're going to extend as far as we can. That will be 4. Then we're going to extend again by 4. And then we'll extend by 4 more. So now we're at 15. But for this one, we actually do need to go all the way to 16. And then we can go start building up this wall as well. And if you want to check if you're correct, right now we have three long walkway. So we want to make this 16. So if you did it correct, this should be a 16 long walkway. And then of course we can fill it all in, this entire wall, so that we create a safety barrier. And we want to just fill it all the way in. Again, if you want to, you can make those pillars go all the way up if you like the look of that. Really depends on what you prefer and how many materials, of course, you want to use for this pen, because the pen is quite big already. And yeah, you're not going to see very much of it, of course. So yeah, we just want to fill in this whole wall. I've got a lot of guests here checking out my tutorial. But yeah, just fill in the whole wall until you've done all of this. And then, of course, you can probably already guess, this is where you would switch back to the triangles and continue on. And basically, you keep doing this shape until it meets back with the corner that you already have in place of your normal build. I'm not going to do that all in the tutorial because it's going to take a long time, but that is how you build this big water pen. And then if you like, you can of course add some smaller gates here in the middle, or even behemoth gates if your depth allows it. And if you want to have entrances, of course, we already have the main entrance. The only downside to this pen is definitely big enough to breed Shestas very easily. You can fit multiple in there. With saddle, it's going to be more tricky. It depends on the depth, and those saddles go quite deep, so you're probably glitching a little bit into the floor, unfortunately. And as I said before, they don't fit outside. They can't fit through these gates, so they can't go outside. If you want to remedy that, what you could do is just leave out the gate, just make a big hole where they can swim out, and just protect your entrance with turrets. Of course, also not ideal. What I've decided to do is I just park my Shesta close to the front of the base, and I have some turrets here in the water that are protecting it. But yeah, it's not ideal, but unfortunately that is the only way to do it right now. And then this is what the entire pen is going to look like once you're done. It will link all the way back up to the base, and you have a lot of room inside. And if you want to, and you're close to the mainland, of course, you can connect it to the mainland. I connected it to another tech-based design that I've done. There's already a tutorial available for that one as well, if you want to build that. So yeah, this is then the whole base. If you build whatever we've done in the tutorial on the other side as well, you'll end up with this. So hopefully you were able to follow it. And now I'll do a little bit of a tour so you can see how I've decorated it. The one big difference here is that my front, as you can see, extends a little bit further. That's because I've actually extended it a little bit with the vacuum platforms. You don't really need that because, I mean, you've got so much space. I actually would prefer if I made it a little bit shorter after all. But yeah, if you do extend it, you can. And then here my Shasta is parked just outside, as you can see, so I have enough space. And then some turrets to protect it and keep it safe. Okay, let's take a tour of the base. We have the middle part here right in front of me. As you can see, it connects to the water pen, and then we got the two big cubes on either side. This is basically more meant to show you what it could look like once it's decorated. I've placed some turrets around the place to keep it all safe, keep seagulls away. I've used some custom cosmetics. These are actually... if you search for summer, you'll find extra custom cosmetics that aren't a part of the summer event, but they do match very nicely with the summer event. And they also have things like this, which looks really nice, and these ones as well, which just really add a nice decoration option for your bases, for your modern builds. And then as you can see, we got the water pen here. I still have the railings, but as I already said, I kind of want to take them out because jumping in and out would be so much easier if I didn't have those. And then, yeah, we can connect the walkway up here. We got the big water pen at the back, which is absolutely huge. I've bred up my Shastas in here before taking them outside. Yeah, plenty of space in here. And then, of course, we got this little water part, which is how you get into the middle part, but also, of course, connects back up to the other side. We're actually gonna start on this side here. Again, we got another water pen here. I think there's actually some creatures in here. So we got a little dolphin, a mag, some of those ARK Edition modded turtles. So yeah, there's quite a lot of space in here. You can definitely fit a decent amount of water tames inside the A-frames already without having to do like any additional big water pen at the back. So yeah, it's totally up to you whether you do or do not add that. Then let's go all the way to the end here. This is the end of the platform. We've got some ladders here, of course, to get back up. I've decorated it with a bunch of the Summer Bash event stuff and then the extra custom cosmetics as well, just to make it look like a proper water base. What I also really like about these designs is that I've, as I said, painted that little edge black so it stands out a little bit more. Then we go inside, and this side is actually my completely dino-focused side of the base. I've got some tames out here, got the feeding trough around, and then we got a couple of cam benches for the look, because this is kind of my dino lab. This is a custom cosmetic. This is the sci-fi custom cosmetic pack, and this is a storage cabinet, but it looks way more futuristic. And you've got these desks and chairs as well, which look really good. And then I've got some fridge, a vault here, which is basically to store everything related to dino taming and dino breeding. So my kibble is stored here, saddles, stuff like that. And then we got all the cryos here. This is using Scribbles mod. You can hide signs and make the text float. So yeah, we got a couple of cryo fridges here for all different types of animals. We got some air conditioning here as well, so we can do the breeding. And then more cryo fridges here. These are our personal ones, so we have our own cryo fridge to store our own dinos as well. And then, yeah, some pyromanes around and my Rhinognatha. I've actually been collecting Rhinognatha's from the Club ARK. As you can see, I've got a bunch of them right now. But yeah, this is a nice way to decorate it. And as you see, I didn't place a second floor in here because I already have plenty of space in this base. And of course, here we can connect back to the walkways if we want to. And then this is the middle part of the base. We got a teleporter here, so we can easily teleport to our other bases. And then we got a little bit of a crafting and storage area here, but this is just the middle part, not really the focus of it. This is more the living quarters. We got the tech generator here so that it powers everything. More of those custom cosmetics as well. or surfboards. And then these are the actual living quarters. This again is from the sci-fi custom cosmetics set, which looks really nice. We got a poker table here. Of course, we have a balcony here with the nice view of the ocean. And then here we actually have an elevator to go upstairs as well. Although we, of course, also have these stairs, so you don't really need them. But yeah, it's a modern base. Why not? And then we have the bedroom back here. Some maps on the walls. And again, some personal storage to keep your personal belongings in. Then we have these top layers. I've got some water storage around everywhere so that we have drinking water in many places. And we can also have a little farm right here. I haven't planted anything right now, but yeah, we have it. And we've got some beehives here and an RG parked up there as well. Just to give you an example of how you can use all these layers of the base. And then again, up here, we got the entire roof. We got our tech transmitter so that we can transfer to the rest of the cluster, and more of these cosmetics just to dress it up a little bit. And then again, the little hatch frame to easily get inside if we wanted to. Then here on the other side, it's basically the same thing. Haven't really added anything on this side, but you do have more space. And yeah, again, also very usable for just parking your flyers there if you need some space for that. Then let's go back down into the base and see the other wing. So again, it's the same as on the other side, but just differently decorated. And this is where all the crafting stuff is. So we got all the heavy machinery here that we need, the replicator, the forge, all the little cooking things, the grinder, everything to craft is here. And then we got some storage over here as well. Again, you see those custom signs from the Scribbles mod, which just makes it really nice to do those cool signs. And we got some more storage going on here. We're not really fully moved into this base. It's like half living here, half living in other bases. So yeah, but this is an example of what you could do. And then of course, this one also has more storage down here for dinos if you need to. So it's a pretty big base where you can do a lot with all your ocean needs. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video. That was it for this tour. Hopefully you enjoyed. And if you do end up building this, feel free to share your screenshot with me by Twitter or joining my Discord and sharing them over there. And then I hope that you will enjoy this cool tech modern ocean base. And if you enjoyed this video, of course, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you want to support me even more, consider becoming a member. And then thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.